The sun was warm in Santa Clara Valley. Buck, a big dog, ran through the garden. He played with the children and sat by the fire at night. He felt safe. Buck lived with Mr. Miller in a big house. There were trees, flowers, and a river nearby. Life was happy. Buck did not know that big changes were coming. Gold was found in the north. People wanted strong dogs to pull sledges. Buck did not know this. He did not know that someone wanted to sell him. One day, Manuel took Buck for a walk. Buck was happy and did not worry. But they went to the train station. A man gave money and tied Buck with a rope. Buck growled. He did not like the rope. The man pulled it hard. Buck tried to jump away, but the man hit him. Buck was hurt and could not run. The men put Buck in the train. He woke up later with pain in his neck. He tried to bite, but the rope was strong. He could not get away. He was scared. Buck was put in a wooden box. He stayed in the box all night. It was dark and cold. Buck was hungry. He did not know where he was going. The next day, the box moved again. Buck had no food or water. People laughed and used sticks to push him. Buck got angry and sad. Why did this happen to him? Buck wanted love, not pain. His home was gone. His soft bed, warm fire, and fun games were only memories now. After the cold night in the wooden box, Buck was taken far north. He was weak, hungry, and afraid. The air felt different. Everything was strange and cold. When the box opened in Seattle, a fat man with a red coat was there. He had a big club in his hand. Buck growled, but the man hit him very hard. Buck tried to fight, but the man hit him again and again. Buck learned that the man with the club was strong. Buck now knew he must obey the man. Other dogs came too. Each one was hit with the club. Buck watched them. He saw that the dogs who did not listen were hurt more. Buck stayed quiet. Soon a man came to the camp. His name was Perot. He looked strong and smart. He gave the fat man some money. Then he took Buck and a dog named Curly. Perot took them to a ship. The ship moved away from the warm land. Buck and Curly were cold and scared. They did not know where they were going now. On the ship, Buck met two men named Perot and Francois. Francois was tall and had dark hair. They were not cruel like the fat man, but they were very firm. Buck also saw two dogs. One was Spitz, who looked friendly but was not. The other was Dave, who was quiet and did not want to play. Buck watched them closely. One morning, the ship stopped. Francois took the dogs outside. Buck stepped on something soft and white. It was snow. Buck had never seen snow before that day. Buck lived with other dogs in the snow. He watched and learned from dogs like Spitz, Dave, and Curly. They did not play, but they worked hard every day. One day, Curly walked to a new dog with a friendly face, but the dog attacked her. Then other dogs ran and joined. Buck saw Curly fall and never get up again. Buck was shocked. He saw that the law here was different. No one helped the weak. Spitz was smiling. Buck did not like Spitz after that moment. Francois put a harness on Buck. It went around his body and was tied to the sledge. Buck did not know the work but watched the other dogs carefully. Buck looked at Dave and Spitz. They knew what to do. Buck started to turn and stop when Francois gave orders. He pulled the sledge through the snow. More dogs came. Billy was friendly. Joe was not. Solex had one eye and liked to be alone. Buck learned more about each dog as they worked together. At night, Buck felt very cold. He could not see the other dogs. Then he stepped into a hole and found Billy. Dogs made holes in the snow to stay warm. Buck dug his own hole. It felt better. He slept inside the snow. This new life was hard, but Buck was getting used to the cold and the new ways. Every day, the dogs moved. Buck stayed between Dave and Solix. They bit him when he made mistakes. Buck learned fast and worked like a real sled dog. Buck grew stronger each day. His legs were hard, and he could run fast. He ate quickly. The work was long, but Buck became more wild and careful. There was not much food. Buck began to steal when he was hungry. He was fast and smart. No one saw him take food. Buck learned to survive like wild dogs. He also started to fight for small things. It was not like his old home. Here, dogs had to be strong and smart. Only the best dogs could live well in the snow. Buck was now strong and smart. He pulled the sledge with power. He watched Spitz every day. They did not fight, but the hate between them grew stronger. One day, a dog named Dolly went crazy. She ran after Buck and tried to bite him. He ran fast. Francois used an axe to stop Dolly. Buck was very tired. Then Spitz jumped on Buck and tried to fight. Buck was not ready. Francois hit Spitz with a stick. The other dogs saw this. They started to stand by Buck. One day the dogs saw a rabbit. They all ran after it through the snow. Buck ran fast. Spitz ran faster. Spitz caught the rabbit. The other dogs were close. Buck jumped on Spitz right away. They started to fight. They ran in a circle, biting and pulling. The snow was red. Buck's feet hurt, but he did not stop. Spitz bit Buck first, but Buck was quick. He broke Spitz's front legs. Spitz fell down. Then Buck jumped and pushed him hard. The other dogs watched in silence. Spitz could not stand. He lay on the snow. Buck stood tall in front of him. The other dogs ran to Buck. They knew Spitz was finished. He would not lead again. Spitz did not get up. Buck had won the fight. He was hurt, but he was the new leader now. Buck looked at the team. They waited for him to lead them next. In the morning, Francois came to tie the dogs. He saw that Spitz was gone. He saw Buck in front. Francois smiled. Buck had taken the place of Spitz. Buck worked harder than before. He gave orders with looks and moves. The dogs listened. They pulled faster. They stopped when Buck stopped. He was fair and strong. Francois and Perrault were happy with Buck. Their work was easy now. The team moved better and faster. Even weak dogs worked harder with Buck as the leader. They reached their place faster than normal. People were surprised. Buck had helped the team a lot. But the happy days with Francois and Perrault would end soon. Buck's happy days with Francois and Perrault were over. New people came. Their names were Hal, Charles, and Mercedes. They took Buck away to be their dog. Hal was young and had a whip. Charles was older and slow. Mercedes, who was Charles's wife, cried a lot and did not help. They did not know life in the snow. They had many bags and boxes. The sledge was too full. Buck and the other dogs could not pull it. Hal hit the dogs with the whip, but it did not help much. People watched them try to move the heavy sledge. It was stuck in the snow. A man told them to break the ice. Then the sledge moved but fell over right away. The things were all over the ground. The dogs were tired but had to keep going. Hal and Charles picked up the gear. Mercedes cried and said it was too hard. They had too many dogs. Most of them were new and did not know what to do. Buck and his team were weak. There was not enough food for the dogs or the people. Every day, the team moved slowly. Some days, they only walked a little. Hal started to give the dogs less food. The dogs became thin and looked very weak. Many dogs began to die. Dub was hurt, and Hal shot him. 6 dogs died because they were new and too soft. Soon, only Buck and 4 other dogs were left. Mercedes often sat on the sledge, making it heavy. The dogs pulled hard but had no strength. When they stopped, they were hit with a stick or a whip again. One day, the group came to a river. A man named John Thornton was cutting wood. He saw the ice and told Hal not to go across. The ice was not strong. "Don't cross," John said. "The ice will break." But Hal did not listen. He hit Buck to make him move. Buck fell down and did not get up this time. John pulled out a knife and cut Buck's straps. Hal shouted, but John did not care. Hal and the others went onto the ice with the sledge and dogs. Buck and John stood by the river. They watched Hal, Charles, and Mercedes go. Then the ice cracked. It made a loud sound. The people and dogs were gone. The ice broke under the sledge. Buck saw it go down into the water. He was safe on land. John had saved Buck's life. Buck looked at John with new eyes. Buck was tired, but he was alive. He sat by John and rested. From this day, Buck would stay with John. He knew this man would not hurt him or his team. Buck stayed with John Thornton by the river. He ate good food and had clean water. Buck was safe. He rested and slowly became strong again each day. John had 2 other dogs. One dog was Skeet. She licked Buck's cuts to help him heal. The second dog was Nig. He had black fur and was very friendly. Skeet and Nig liked Buck. They played with him and stayed near. The 3 dogs became friends. Buck started to feel happy and safe in his new home. John gave Buck love. This was new for Buck. He felt a strong bond with John. At night, Buck slept near him. In the morning, he waited for his voice. Buck followed John everywhere. He sat by him, walked with him, and watched him work. When John smiled, Buck felt joy. This love was deep and true. John did not hit his dogs. He spoke with a kind voice. Buck was not a tool now. He was a friend. He did not just obey. He stayed with John by choice. When John called, Buck came fast. When John moved, Buck followed. Buck watched his face, his hands, and his steps. Their hearts were full of trust. John laughed when Buck played. Buck jumped with joy. He was like a puppy again. This love gave Buck new life. He barked, ran, and wagged his tail. At night, Buck lay close to John. If John moved, Buck opened his eyes. No man had touched Buck's heart like this. This was deep love, not just work. Skeet and Nig still played with Buck. They chased each other in the trees. But Buck was always near John. Skeet sometimes barked to call him back. The new life was quiet but good. Buck no longer pulled sledges. He had food, rest, and friends. He had love. He had a home that felt warm and right. John often sat by the fire. Buck lay at his feet. Sometimes they sat for hours. No words were needed. Just being close filled their hearts with peace. Buck now lived with John. They went on long trips together. They walked by rivers, climbed hills, and saw many trees. Buck loved to stay by John's side. As they traveled, Buck grew stronger. His legs were fast. His eyes were sharp. He could smell food from far away. He felt like a wild dog again. They looked for gold. John used a pan in the water. Buck watched him. Sometimes they found a small piece. They kept moving and looking each day. Buck started to hear sounds in the woods. The trees moved in the wind, but the sounds were not the wind. He felt something was calling to him. One night, he barked at the trees. He wanted to go into the dark woods. He did not know why. It was a strange feeling inside his heart. But every time, Buck looked back at John. He could not leave him. He had love for the man who saved him. Still, the call of the wild stayed. One day, Buck saw a wolf. It had yellow eyes and soft steps. The wolf looked at Buck and then ran. Buck followed it into the forest. They ran for hours. The wolf let Buck come near. They did not fight. Buck felt close to the wolf, like they were brothers from long ago. After a while, Buck turned back. He remembered John. His heart pulled him both ways. He could run free with the wolf or stay with the man he loved. Buck went back to John's camp. John smiled when he saw Buck again. Buck was happy too, but his mind was full of wild thoughts and dreams. Each day, Buck hunted in the woods for small animals. He ate well. His teeth were strong. He moved like a shadow, fast and quiet in the trees. But each night, Buck came back to John. He lay by the fire and watched the stars. Even if the wild called him, his heart was still with John. Buck had changed. He was no longer just a home dog. He had felt snow, learned to fight, and pulled heavy sledges. He knew pain, fear, and cold places. He had met cruel men who used clubs and kind men who gave food and care. He had lived in the wild. He had become strong with his teeth, legs, and heart. Each place he went taught him something. He learned to be fast, careful, and smart. Buck could now live without help. He had become part wild, part free. But Buck was also loyal. He gave love to John Thornton. Buck stayed with him even when he heard the wild sound in the woods. His heart was strong for John. In the forest, Buck chased small animals and moved like wind. But when he saw John smile, he came back. The pull of love was greater than the call outside. John was not like the others. He did not hit Buck or shout. He spoke soft and gave food. Buck had found love. This love held him near even when his legs wanted to run. Buck had many faces. He was a helper, a friend, a hunter, and a wild dog. He was quiet in camp but wild in the woods. He lived with rules and with freedom. He had no need for beds or warm fires. He had his strong legs and nose. He found food and made homes in the snow. Cold could not stop him anymore. His teeth were sharp, his eyes were bright, and his moves were fast. He gave love to John, but also answered the deep voice of the wild inside him. Each season passed. Buck became more wild, but stayed by John. He watched stars and dreamt in the woods. He felt the wild calling more each day. Yet he came back each time. Something deep held him with John, a bond that snow, wind, and even wolves could not break. This bond was made from love. He was no longer the same dog from Santa Clara. He had found something deeper. The snow had changed his body. John's care had touched his soul.